Yeah, welcome back guys. Let's see about the branches of internal iliac artery. What is internal iliac artery? And then I will tell you about the branches of it. Internal iliac artery. What is your concept of internal iliac artery? Right? Look here. This is our common iliac artery. The common iliac artery gives off internal iliac artery and external iliac artery. So what is internal iliac artery? It is a branch of artery which arises at the level of bifurcation of common iliac arteries, right? So let me say here, let us write its definition that the artery which arises at bifurcation of common iliac artery. Yeah, the artery which arises at the bifurcation of the common iliac artery. There are two, the external and internal. So we are not recording about the external, we are recording about internal iliac artery. What is its origin point? From where does it arises? At which level? Right friends? So this artery arises, first thing we should know that it arises from the bifurcation of, let us write it also here, bifurcation of common iliac artery. Okay, at which level? At the level of, look at here, let me explain it. Here we have our L5, right? Lumbar vertebra number 5, and then when lumbar vertebras are gone, then there is sacral vertebra, right? There is sacral vertebra. Look, so this is our L5. Clear friends? And this is our S1, sacral vertebra number 1. So in between them there is, as you know, this is our intervertebral disc, right? It's a cartilage which is present in between the two vertebrae. So this is called intervertebral disc. So this artery, internal iliac artery, look friends, look carefully. This is our common iliac artery coming down, right? And when at the level of the intervertebral disc in between the L5 and S1, this artery gives off two branches like this. This is our external iliac artery and this is our internal iliac artery. So internal iliac artery is a branch of common iliac artery and it bifurcates at the level of the intervertebral disc in between the L5 and S1, right? So bifurcation of common iliac artery at level of, which level? Intervertebral disc between, between L5 and S1. I hope it's clear. Next, what is the length of this artery? Length of common internal iliac artery, internal iliac artery. So its length is about 4 centimeter. It comes down, look, from here up to its bifurcation, it is about 4 centimeter, right? It is its length. And what is the diameter of this artery? Diameter of this artery is from 8 to 9 mm. 8 to 9 millimeters. This is its diameter. And how many branches does it give? Branches of this artery. So as previously I told you that this internal iliac artery gives off two trunks, two big trunks. Look, this is our internal iliac artery, right? It comes down and it gives the posterior trunk and the anterior trunk. So what is this? This is the posterior trunk, right? and we will see its branches also. And this is the anterior trunk, right? And these 10 branches are the branches of this anterior trunk of this internal iliac artery. Let me write here. It gives off two trunks, two big trunks, the anterior trunk and the posterior trunk. Right. So from anterior trunk, there are about 10 arteries. It gives off 10 arteries, and I will show you all those arteries and the regions which they supply. And this posterior trunk gives off about 3 arteries, 3 sub-branches, and we will see them also. So let us see about the branches of the anterior trunk of this internal iliac artery. Yes, friends, let us see about the branches of the anterior trunk of this internal iliac artery. So let me write here branches of anterior trunk of internal iliac artery. Friends, it's a humble request that if you are watching us for the first time, it's a humble request that please share our lectures with your friends and do comments to me that if you like our lectures, and please subscribe our channel. Right, first of all, let us discuss about the branches of anterior trunk of internal iliac artery. Right, so the first branch that this artery gives is, let me write here the first branch, and let me show you there. Right, look here, look carefully. This is internal iliac artery, and this is its bifurcation point, right? And it gives off a posterior trunk and an anterior trunk, right? So this anterior trunk starts giving off small branches. Okay, so this is the first branch which this artery gives off, right? This artery. This is the first branch. And this first branch is called the obturator branch, right? Let me write it here, obturator artery. In male and in female also, but I am discussing about the branches of this internal iliac artery, anterior trunk, in female separately, and in case of males separately. There are some differences also. We cannot discuss both of them in one lecture and in one diagram, right? So that's why I have made separate diagrams to make you guys clear about these branches, right? So the first branch which this anterior trunk gives is the obturator artery, and this branch is responsible to supply blood to the obturator muscle. So I will write the blood supply to which these arteries are responsible, them with this green color, right? So obturator artery is responsible to supply blood to the obturator muscle, right? Obturator muscle. You just write it with yourself. Then there is the second branch, right? This is the second branch which this artery with this anterior trunk gives, this one. And this artery is called the umbilical artery, right? So the second branch is called the umbilical artery. And this artery is responsible to bring deoxygenated blood from fetus to placenta, right? This artery is responsible to bring, this artery brings deoxygenated blood from fetus to placenta. Right, friends. Okay. The second branch is the umbilical artery. Then the third branch, which this anterior trunk gives, look here. This is our third branch. Look, this one. right? This one. Okay. This is called the superior vesical artery. Superior vesical or vesical artery. Okay. It is responsible to supply blood to the bladder. Here is the bladder. Look, this is the urinary bladder. You can see from here the female pass urine, right? So this is the urethra, the urethral opening, and this is the urinary bladder. So this is urinary bladder, right? So this artery is called the superior vesical artery. It is responsible to supply the blood to the, for example, if this is the UB, urinary bladder, so this artery comes like this and supply the superior portions of this urinary bladder, and here are two ureters coming from the kidneys, so they are also responsible to supply blood to the distal parts of the ureters, right? Let me mention them here. So these superior vesical arteries supply blood to urinary bladder, and distal parts of ureters. Distal parts of ureters, right? This was about our superior vesical artery. Now then there is the fourth artery, this one. Look, you can see here, let me mention it, this branch. This is going to the uterus. You can see this is the female uterus, this is the vagina, right? This is the vaginal canal, and this is the uterus. So this artery is called, this fourth artery is called the uterine artery, right? So the fourth branch is called the uterine artery. Okay, this artery is responsible to supply blood to the uterus, right? It supplies blood to the uterus, to the, it also gives some small branches to the cervix and the vagina also, right? So it supplies blood to the uterus, vagina and cervix, right? This is the fourth artery, the branch of anterior trunk of this internal iliac artery, the uterine artery. Then the fifth artery is the vaginal artery, right? You can see this branch. Look, here is a branch, and it is going to the vagina. You can see here, right? This fifth artery is called the vaginal artery. Vaginal artery. Look carefully. So this vaginal artery is responsible to supply blood to vagina, and one thing more, friends, it also gives some small branches to the base of this urinary bladder, right? So it supplies blood to vagina, the first important thing, and to the base of bladder, I mean urinary bladder, right? This is the fifth branch of anterior trunk. Then the sixth branch, look, here is our sixth branch, this one. It is going to the vesicle, you can see, to the urinary bladder from the inferior side, right? As I told you in the previously, that this is our, for example, this is our urinary bladder, there is superior vesical artery and there is inferior vesical artery, right? So there is the sixth branch, that is the inferior vesical artery. Okay, this inferior vesical artery is responsible to supply blood to the urinary bladder from inferior side, right? It supplies blood to urinary bladder and some parts of ureters also, right? Some small branches it gives also to ureters. So urinary bladder and ureters also, right? Then there is seventh branch, right? Look, this is our seventh branch. Here it is coming like this, right? So this is called the middle rectal artery. The seventh branch is called the middle rectal artery or branch. It is also the branch of anterior trunk of internal iliac artery, and this middle rectal artery is responsible to supply blood to the, in females, in case of females, it is responsible to supply blood to the rectum. Look, this is the rectum here, and it gives a small branches towards the vagina also. Okay, so it supplies blood to two different regions, the rectum and the vagina. Rectum and vagina. Not all the vagina is supplied by this one. Not all the rectum is supplied by this middle rectal artery, but some parts of vagina and some parts of rectum. As you can see, rectum is also supplied here by another artery, right? So we will see next rectum and vagina, middle rectal artery. Then the eighth branch which arises from this anterior trunk of internal iliac artery is the inferior gluteal artery. You can see this one, right? This branch is called the inferior gluteal artery, right? Inferior gluteal artery. I hope you are understanding the lecture. Right. So this inferior gluteal artery is responsible to supply blood to the gluteal muscles. Gluteal muscle. Very good. Then there is the ninth branch of this anterior trunk. Right. The ninth branch. You can see this one. This is the internal pudendal artery. Right. This is called the internal pudendal artery, the ninth branch of anterior trunk, right? And this internal pudendal artery is responsible to supply blood to the lower parts of the rectum. You can see it gives also branches towards the rectum, right? And to some muscles which are present here, which are called perineal muscles, right? So this artery is responsible to supply blood to the lower rectum, right, plus perineal muscles. Perineal muscles. Very good, done. And the last branch from this anterior trunk, the last one, this one, where is that one? Look, this 10th artery is called the inferior rectal artery. You can see here, inferior rectal artery, right? So inferior rectal artery. I'm discussing about the female's pelvis, right? The blood supply of the female's pelvis. So inferior rectal artery, and this artery is responsible to supply blood to rectum. Rectum. You can see rectum is supplied by many arteries. Look. Inferior rectal artery, internal pudendal artery, look, rectum, and then there is middle rectal artery, right? So they give off small branches to complete the blood supply. Okay friends, these 10 arteries, these 10 branches, as you saw here, I hope you have been cleared about the blood supply given by the anterior trunk of this internal iliac artery to different viscerals and muscles of this female pelvis, right? So these were the 10 branches which are given by this anterior trunk, right? I hope you got something from this lecture, and I hope you learned many things regarding the blood supply of the human pelvis, human female pelvis. In the next lecture I will record about the branches of the posterior trunk, right? And we will see what does this posterior trunk is responsible to supply blood. So I hope you guys like the lecture, and if you like our lecture, please share the lecture with your friends and invite your friends also. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.